think our relationship with the street is going to disappear, right? So if every building is going to have parking till 6 or 7 floors,
You don't see anything.
what are you going to see?
Yeah.
You're not even on a tree line. You're not going to hear the guy passing by who sharpens knives or, who does anything.
Tendulkar grew up next to you. His kids.
Tendulkar grew up,
Is it true? You used to watch them brushing their teeth?
In one of my schools in Chandigarh, there were these boys, they were called the proposed gang.
Yeah, you're too slow. Come on, cat. I told him I got my thrills already. I don't have to go.
What kind of speed in the sky?
You know what? You talk about 800 kilometers per hour. You know what the doctor said? So they had plastered me fully, but left the knee part open because they say the fragments of the bullet that have gone into your body or anything, the body itself rejects these things and pushes it out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what. Because every day I should go for dressing and just open that part and pull the pieces out.
Okay, Cyrus says, time to look at a fabulous new book with a lovely young lady.
Young.
Better be careful. Shormishtha. I had a Shormishtha, of course, also Bengali, so we should have called her Shormishtha, but we used to work in MTV first, long ago. I know. Shormishtha's dad is a fighter pilot. He's here, so I have to be very careful what I say. Guns are pointed, and he comes from a zamana where they just... Operation IBM coming soon. What a low quality podcast. How did you come here? But you're a Bandra girl. And
I'm
this
a
is
Bandra girl, yes.
So let's quickly get into the book, or we'll just ramble as usual. Pudding. Very interesting title. The Memory Keepers of Bandra. Please take a look. Please go and buy this wonderful book. My good friend Kunal Vijekar, mentioned 4 times every show, last night was having dinner with us, saw the book, it just came in, started reading it, and he's an ADHD, low patience tolerance human being.
Really?
Yeah, he's the kind of guy, if there's a line of 3 people outside Metro when we were young, we were going for no movie today, because just no tolerance. And he started reading it and he wouldn't put it down. He was so fascinated because, of course, he could relate to a lot of things. He really likes architecture. He likes history of landscapes.
And there's
places.
a really nice piece about food as well.
There's lots about food as
Yeah.
well. So, but he didn't get that far because I took the book back because I wanted to, quick read it. So I have some idea what's happening.
My dad has been telling me that Cyrus is a really quick reader and he's going to
Because
go
they
through
send
it
it
and
all
then he
last
remembers
minute.
everything. And
Oh my God, your dad has really seen the show. But they send it last minute, it becomes like an exam. No, I'm
Yeah,
reading it, I'm
I'm
fast reading it through.
sorry.
This is actually much easier to read.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have to read these novels and all sometimes, which are...
They were trying to convince me to send you my other book as well. And I was like,
The
I think,
cancer one.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think that would be too much for him. Like,
I'm not that insensitive. I would read a book about the struggles and the triumph of a young girl against a horrible disease, which starts with the same letter as my name. Hence, we won't want to get into it. We'll talk about that as well. But let's hit the pudding book first.
I just want to say thanks for calling me a young girl repeatedly.
But I don't want to get into the age thing, but you look young. Come on. Okay, pudding. We'll come to why it's called pudding. We'll come to it later, actually, because actually the pudding parts are towards the end of the show as well, our book. But how do you define this? So firstly, Bandra is easily the most dynamic part of Mumbai. Okay, and there's no way I come from Malba Hill where the dead live.
I like
We're
South
like a
Bombay
museum.
people saying this.
No, we're a museum. We're a museum. The energy of Bandra, and I'm saying this not to be patronizing. I know I always feel a little jealous and grew up in Bandra. The more sense of community, as you can see in this book. There's just so much more culture, actually, as you can see in this book. The architecture is very good. South Bombay's architecture is very good also.
Amazing.
Yeah, but it's very good without the Indians, as Mr. Vijekar has fondly told me.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Dad fought for India, so I have to be very careful with the line of making fun of your own country. And man's got it's such an unfair fight because he's got a MiG, okay, maybe more than one. 3 MiGs and some other fancy F-16s or 17s or whatever, and I've got my mom. Who's like 80,
That's good enough.
85 now, and she's tough.
That's good enough.
But in the fight, she won't hear everything. You say, Mother John! Sorry? One of those, nothing like fighting with old people now because you lose your momentum as an angry person. Yeah. So where were we? Please, let's talk about the book. Yeah. So first and foremost, you are now famous for being this. Let's go back in time a little bit. You were advertising.
Yeah.
We almost did an ad together. No, we did an ad
We did an ad
together.
together, which never got aired.
Which never got aired. But that's so the story is that she was getting married the next day.
Correct.
And she had written this ad and she wanted this ad to be made or whatever. To cut a long story short, she came to Bombay. We shot the ad with Ram Madhwani, one of the greats of our time. In our country, if your name is Ram, you're already a great. And then to be actually famous in what you do. And then, this is a true story. Shormistha shot the ad, took a late evening or night flight and went back to Kolkata and got married the next day.
Correct.
That means she loves her husband or TMC called. I'm not sure. Well, there was no TMC then. Well, there was, but it's long story.
I just wanted him to deal with the parents and everything before the wedding.
What
was so convenient.
What did he think?
He was like, you are leaving me alone to deal. So my parents had never met his parents.
Oh.
And they were coming down from Hyderabad. Dad was posted to Hyderabad. And all this was going to happen. And I was like, so nice. I'm away from all this. So then he had to do all this. Like...
But he didn't think you were trying to pull out or something?
No.
Disappeared?
No, I don't think so.
What do the in-laws think?
I don't know. I think everyone was just like, okay, she has...
It's a very odd story from an India point of view where, the bride is fully into the whole festive season of the wedding thingy and all that.
Yeah.
So you just sort of disappeared.
But we just had a very simple wedding. And this was really nice. I thought they were better off without me. Till I would just come for the wedding and that would be perfect. It worked out really well.
There was no food and drink?
There was, yeah.
What's a simple wedding then?
Yeah, it was just about 16 people. We were moving to a new house. That's the reason we were getting married, because we found a house on rent and it was a really low budget house. So we were like, we have to get married because they wouldn't obviously let us live otherwise.
Oh, you got married because the landlord refused to... Okay. That's the most romantic reason I've ever... I mean, honestly, it's beautiful, so charming. I mean, he must be so proud of you that you're telling us all this right now.
No, I mean, we wanted to get
We wanted
married.
the lease, I don't even remember his name, but the lease.
No, that's not true. We wanted to get married, but we had to get married right then.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it
Anyway,
worked out.
that's done. There's another Zamana. This is 1996.
Yep.
I dare give dates because I know. I remember everything. Now, can we talk about the book?
Yes.
So first and foremost, and you mentioned it a few times, it's also written in parts by different people, right?
Yes, there are
So it's
many
like an
different
anthology.
authors.
And in
Yes.
fact, you've called it that. It's also volume 1.
Yeah.
So there's more to come.
Yeah.
So watch that. So now you tell us. I'll keep talking. The idea, you are a Bandra girl. Dad was all over, a Fauji kid, so all over the place.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the roots sort of just developed here.
Yeah.
So you tell us.
So Dad was in the Air Force and we moved everywhere and we lived everywhere for 2 years. I think I studied in some 14 or 15 schools in 12 years. So I always thought I'll be a nomad, and then I started working in Calcutta, and I just landed. I studied in Bombay, and then I did half my college here, half in Cal, everywhere. I was everywhere. So I thought I'd live all my life like that, which is not bad. I mean, that's what I was used to. I liked it. And then we just moved to, in this whole process, we moved to Bombay, and we moved to Bandra because it's the only place we both knew, because recording studios were here. We were already in advertising, so we used to come here.
Oh, he was also in advertising?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we moved here.
So is his name Peter Mukherjee?
No.
But is it
My name
Bengali
is not.
name?
My name is Shormistha. So, yeah.
Oh. Hey, there could be stories before and after, right? There's legacy. There's sequels, prequels.
That could
Come on,
be, yeah.
come on.
Didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that's it. So then we came here, and then I just fell in love with this place, and I was like, oh, I love this place. I think I could live here all my life.
Which agency?
Which agency was I in?
Oh.
I was in HTA, then HTA.
Oh,
Now I don't know what
JWT,
it's called. It's been
JWT.
called so many
Oh, it's
things.
not JWT?
No. Then JWT.
What if its name is like
then-
Venkatesh or something?
Shit, I don't even know what it's called now. It's called something right now.
What do you mean? The famous JWT?
Yeah, it's gone. It's
HTA,
gone.
JWT.
It's gone. It's
Oh,
gone.
yeah.
Disappeared. Bought over like that. So yeah. So that was it. Then I just thought that I love this place. It felt like the cants that I had grown up in. Exactly all the things that you said.
Yeah.
It felt safe. It felt non-judgmental. It felt like there was a very strong sense of community. So I think I just fell in love with it. And then I was like, oh, I can grow roots. If I wasn't born with roots, I can
but
grow
you're
them.
an adult when you actually adapt to Bandra.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Ripe old age of about...
No, but in a sense, you're an adult, but you feel like your soul was here already, no?
Yeah,
But that's
I
the sense
did.
we get from this book also.
Yeah. I
Some, people might relate to that a little bit, that you find a place in your life where you feel, if you believe in karma, whatever, I don't get into that, I get scared thinking that was I a cockroach last time? And will I be a cockroach again? And will you stamp on me, Aisha? I mean, all these things are there. But there's sometimes... I'm getting goosebumps thinking about. There are places that you go to and you almost feel like you were there.
Yeah.
Or you belong
It's
here.
really strange. I'm reading Amitav Ghosh's new book just now, and that's what it's about. I just started it. It's about reincarnation. It's about this girl who remembers her past life, right? And
but remembering it gives you like a trajectory. I'm saying without remembering, you just feel this
sense of deja vu, right?
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
So,
but yeah, I just felt like this was my place. Yeah, and then I felt the only way to kind of, if you're not born somewhere and you don't have roots from there and you want to grow roots, the only way to grow roots is kind of really know everything, know every lane, every tree, I don't know, just everything.
No, and also for 4G kids, for those who don't know what a 4G kid goes through, you get uprooted all the time.
Yeah.
So almost uprooting is your route.
Yeah,
because
correct.
you have to adapt all the time.
Correct.
It makes you all very, personable and all that, I know. But having said that, you do miss having that one thing where everybody, apna gao or whatever, mulk as we say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I never missed it actually.
Yeah.
People used to ask us.
But this became it.
This became it. Yeah. This became home.
Yeah. So now, before we run out of time, because she's talking so much, let's quickly go to the decor. Of course, Mr. Vijay went mad the moment because he loves all these small. See, this is the slice of India that's going to disappear if you're not careful, right?
That's
these
the sad
quaint
part.
bungalows, the small lanes.
Yeah.
And some of them is like a slice of Goa. You can just see it and you're like, you've been transported.
Yeah.
Our DOP is also crazy about photography. Does a lot of it. Please use him at special rates. We will work out a deal. So it's fabulous that you've taken the time to look at this from an aesthetic point of view and preserve it, because I dare to say, I hope nothing happens, but the builders and people are buying, and in the old days I think the Catholic community could only sell it to Catholics. I don't know what it is now.
No, there are some, like the Salset properties can only be sold to Catholics.
Right.
I think even people who live in bungalows now, it's really difficult, right? Because it's not like you're getting any aid to maintain them.
No.
The younger kids have moved out. You have older people living there.
Yeah.
There's so much maintenance, and the builders must be really pressurizing
All the
them
time.
all the time. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the suburb is changing so rapidly that, I don't know, I just
You think
felt
we're
like,
wrong to do that? Our Prime Minister speaks of Vikas and things like that, and you have your metros. Why are you laughing? There's a serious
Are
conversation.
you called Vikas?
Huh?
No.
Or in Bengali, Vikas.
Vikas.
You got a very big ass. No, so I mean, this argument will always be there, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to preserve things because you've sort of made it in life and you want it that way. But a new guy coming in, he needs the innovation and the better roads and the better whatever to facilitate his journey.
I don't know if you're getting better roads.
No, I'm just using it as a metaphor for everything.
But I think like so many buildings going in for redevelopment. I'm sure they're happening in town as well.
Oh God.
But the buildings are old. I mean, you have seepage problem. You can't win against
So
the
in a short, what you're saying is this is the last. I mean, we'll just have photographs.
I think after 5 years, you will just
That's
have...
the truth.
Yeah.
And these lanes will go, these cute lanes. We should shoot the show Bakra in those lanes
Yeah,
because it's easy to shoot and it's pretty.
Yeah.
So my poor DOP at that time would try to get frames out
You
of this
just have
stupid
cars
show.
in the lanes. You'll be dodging behind cars and trying to shoot now.
And also the new roads look terrible.
Yeah,
you know,
they do.
They don't have
They
that
do.
character of the old road.
Yeah.
How to explain that, but
Yeah. Also, there'll be no... I mean, for me, the thing that I feel the worst about is that I think our relationship with the street is going to disappear, right? So if every building is going to have parking till 6 or 7 floors,
you don't see anything.
what are you going to see?
Yeah.
You're not even on a tree line. You're not going to hear the guy passing by who sharpens knives or, who does anything. The bhangar guy, the machi lady.
Speaking of which, one of your chapters is about the what is it? Kalpatru is one of them.
Yeah.
And what is the fat auntie? That's the fat auntie, but there's also another auntie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so there's a photo
The
essay.
beer bob or whatever it's called.
There's a
I'm not good with plants.
The baobab
Baobab,
tree. Yes,
baobab.
yes.
Which is also
It's a fat old lady of
Mahua, but not
Bandra.
Moitra is also mentioned.
There's a mahua tree.
Yeah.
Not Moitra.
No, I'm glad you brought it up because again, this is another dying breed.
Yeah.
What do you want to call it? The environment.
Correct.
Right. The flora.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah.
And growing up, when I was a younger boy, I'm looking at early 90s and mid 90s, and we started shooting with MTV in those areas a lot. There was still a lot of foliage. There was
Correct.
a sense of the countryside feeling was still there.
Yeah.
And now cut to let's say 5 years later. I don't know.
They're just hacking trees like so.
No, Kalpatru will be a building.
Yeah.
Annex 1, Kalpatru.
First, when you said
Annex 2.
Kalpatru, I was like, did I write
So
about Kalpatru towers?
I'm also a Parsi, so anything in Prakriti or Pali takes a long time to translate. Yeah.
But it's so amazing. The piece on trees, the whole book happened like that. There's a girl called Sananda who's amazing with trees. She does tree walks.
Yeah.
She called me and said, I heard you're doing a book, and you know what? I would love to do something on the trees. And that's how we went walking, and then that's her piece. So it was.
But the thing that nobody looks at.
Yeah.
I mean, some people have grown up there. Until you said it, I also felt a little embarrassed. I have no idea what. My wife would, because she does look at these things. But there are some people who have that gift of looking and enjoying. He does, our cameraman here, Abhay sir. But it would be great that you open this up to people, and so the next time they walk, take it in.
Correct.
Like a nature poet almost. You're looking at these things and getting a little inspiration.
Yeah.
Because I still think it's the most beautiful part of Mumbai.
It is.
Even now, the way it is now.
It is.
I mean, but
I
how
just
long?
worry how long.
Yeah, what can we do? It's like, when you have a child who's really good looking when he's young, and then he starts looking really ugly because of alcohol and, paying
he
bills.
starts to sag and all.
Yeah, I mean, just look at our marketing department. What they're going through here. I mean, it's sad. We've put the lights off. So, so the vendor doesn't get upset.
No. So nobody has to look at them.
Aesthetics. It's all aesthetics. Yeah. It's just shameful aesthetics. Yeah. All right. So this is a tool you've used is you produced this entire book. Some of it you've written yourself, some parts, but you've gone to like an expert for different parts.
Yeah.
So which is also very interesting, because that person then gives you a more thorough. Not to put you down, but everyone has their own area where they're really well versed. Like Sananda, right?
Yeah, Sananda.
Sananda with the
trees.
With the trees and the foliage and all that.
Yeah. But I've also got lots of residents to write. So, for example, there's Brian who's written a piece on Commodore.
Yes.
And it's
the hockey team.
The hockey and football team.
How can you not have hockey? I mean, the most famous line, again, from the 90s would be put through.
Yeah.
If you just have you're walking and you'll hear, hey, put through, man, put through, hey, put through. And they're playing hockey, it's just normal.
Correct.
I hope that doesn't go.
Yeah.
They all speak.
But the grounds will
today's
go. Now
Catholics
you'll have turf.
It's so embarrassing. Parsis and Catholics today speak good Hindi. I was so disappointed.
That is such a disappointment.
This guy, I mean, like, what the hell happened to us? I mean, are we UP? What happened to us? We were the last people who would say dadar.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what the hell?
Mahim.
All that.
Happened?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a Bandra man. I mean, there's no, it's a one syllable thingy. Oh, God, it hurts me so much. Our people have betrayed us like that. Next generation. Yeah. So that's that. There's Meher Mafat. Let's talk about Brian, since you brought it up.
Yeah.
The club, you have to research it. It's what, 100 years old?
It's almost, I think it's about 65 years old.
Yeah.
55 or 65.
And some famous names like, I think, Daniel D'Souza and all those who played for India.
Have played for it, and the club still exists, and a lot of these players who were very young then are now the senior players, and they keep it afloat, so it's really nice. And I thought...
And there's this guy who does fitness, who scares the crap out of everyone.
Correct.
There's the only profanity in the book, by the way. Because the moment they see him coming, as Bandabagas do, man, they go, oh... David, right?
Yeah.
Is coming to...
Yeah.
And David's the smiler.
Yeah, he is.
There's more sports and all that are my stronger suit. So I read that more thoroughly.
Yeah. So Brian said, I want to write about companeros. And I was like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, he's actually a football guy.
Yeah, he is. But he also plays hockey, I think. Brian also plays.
Come on.
Oh,
growing up in our generation, everybody played hockey. It's so sad to see that the game has gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's now played in pockets of India. But growing up, all the schools played hockey. Am I right, Abhi sir?
I think Dad also played hockey.
Of course. We all across the country, we played hockey. Hockey was the national game.
Yeah.
Then, like everything else, they changed things.
Yeah.
Tiger was a national animal. Now it's the cow, no? Cow is our national animal. But nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Why should we be a predator? Why can't we,
Correct.
We are the only people who are friendly with Venezuela and US. I mean, there's no one in the world.
We have
Ukraine and Russia, same time.
Everything.
Guys, chat. All right.
Bring everyone together.
Shormistha, this is not that kind of show. We want to do satire, go to Spain. It won't work here. So, Compañero, so he wrote about it. Yeah.
So Brian's written.
So he told you, I want to write about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you became known as this lady who's going to give a breath of fresh air and life to Bandra again.
No, I think I was just trying to figure out how I could get like different people to write things and have like different perspectives. So you like sport, or you like food, or the fact that you see Bandra in different ways. You don't just see it through a lens of history or only food. So I wanted that variety.
Let me just quickly plug it again. See, this book, if you read it, I think two readers will like it. One is if you have any sort of connection with Bandra. And I'm not from Bandra, but we understand the area and all that, so it's fascinating. My cameraman, Abhay sir, is not from Bandra technically, but he wanted to read the book immediately. Kunal, again, not from Bandra, but wanted to read the book immediately. Also, if you're not, everything comes alive because you're looking at a world which is all sort of been recreated for you to look at, and then you probably look at your own world where you come from and say, maybe I haven't seen the trees here.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about a hockey team that's just around the corner.
Yeah.
Or
maybe I need to go explore my neighborhood a little more. I need to talk to people from my neighborhood, I mean, my idea was that maybe tomorrow we can do one for, say, Parel,
You can't. There's no what aesthetic quality does Parel have? Firstly, there's no parking, so you won't be able to get out only. You'll be doing rounds. Bhaiya, ek aur round maro. Bhaiya, main photo खींचेगा भी. Thoda slow jao. Second mein. Tak. No chance.
Yeah,
Parel.
I know.
They should call it lower Parel and then really low Parel. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
How can you say Parel?
It's got so much history.
Give it a red card.
I think it's got so much history, but that's the whole point. Now you just have these big glass towers, and most people who either come to work there or live there don't know about the history. And every neighborhood, literally. So it would be fun if we could do many neighborhoods. Yeah,
but in this, there's so many. We won't be able to cover everything. But let's quickly talk about the 5 aunties.
Yeah.
And there are pictures of them as well.
I love it. That's my favorite.
No, I also, because you have to have the local flavor, and they sort of symbolize, again, I don't want to call the word stereotype, but they symbolize.
They're the boss ladies of Bandra.
The boss ladies, and I think you mentioned also clearly that it's a point in their life where they've had the kids, they've had the marriage, they've dealt with the in-laws, they've dealt with career, they've dealt with children issues, becoming adults, whatever. And then they get that leisure time. I won't give a date to it, but there's a point where they can sort of
neither
reflect.
fish nor foul. They're in that stage.
Yeah, exactly. And
so I haven't written that. That's written by an auntie. That's written by
one of them. Who's your auntie? Isn't this one?
Yeah, that's the piece.
In fact, each one, 5 or 6 ladies who are covered, photographs taken. And if you just look at these photos, and if you've grown up in any kind of idea of, I mean, again, I hope it stays because today's next generation of aunties will not be wearing these clothes, these Martina Navratilova frocks, which my mom and her relatives all used to wear.
Yeah, and I love how they're dressed, and I love Yvette is doing her crochet. She does a lot of work for the church and for charity, and they're incredible. And
there's a certain positive energy, and drive, and humor,
absolutely,
and fun to be around.
You go to an auntie for tough love. They cook the best stuff. They know everything that's happening in the neighborhood.
What's with them and sweets?
They make amazing.
I mean, where pudding comes from?
Yeah, they make amazing sweets, most of them. And
but is it you being flippant about it, or actually they transcend the sweet kingdom at the point of this sort of self-actualization that's happening in their lives?
Oh my God, no.
I'm just asking.
Not so deep. I think Auntie Crystal writes about it that as kids, parenting then was not about like, oh kids, go do what you want. Parenting was like, you bloody well come and help when all the Christmas sweets are being made. So as little girls, they've learned to make all these sweets, and the best part about doing this book was all the food I ate. I would go in time to eat.
Still some Bengali left in us. She couldn't. She told us, "Stop talking, let me eat."
I have eaten amazing food.
Yeah. And so they represent. It's almost like they're personify Bandra.
Correct.
These aunties.
Correct.
And
and for me, like auntie is such a derogatory word in so many parts of the country. Like
really?
they use it to put people down. Arey, wo to auntie ho gayi hai.
Oh, like that.
I was like.
Or when a man transitioning, he's now an auntie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Too much? Officer son? Too much?
Okay, so but it's not a bad word at all. They're sassy, they're cool.
Also, when we were growing up, not to bring alcohol into it, although it's mentioned here as well.
Yeah, auntie bars.
Yeah, auntie bars. And so we used to go to aunties. Abhay, you remember this? That no alcohol being available late in the night.
During the prohibition.
So we would all hit aunties and one hand would come out from one hole. And I mean, now when I think about it, again, I'm getting goosebumps. It's
correct.
What a world it is.
Yeah.
India is so enterprising, and Bandra is that India, enterprising India. So all the boys knew where to find the damn daru. So one Bandra friend will tell you, don't worry, we'll go to aunties.
You know how you knew that there's an auntie bar in the vicinity, right?
Yeah. How?
The boiled egg man was a giveaway.
Boiled egg man.
Yeah, so he was right outside the auntie bar.
That's the connect.
Because the auntie bar, what you did was you just walked in, you just had your drink. There was you didn't come and hang out and listen to nice music and some chakna.
It's not leisure.
No, it's not. So you just go in, drink, come out, and the boiled egg man is there. You eat your boiled egg and you leave, right?
Yeah,
so he's the guy who told you like, oh, there's a bar somewhere around.
No, what a beautiful slice of life. Oh, no, it's all gone now. Right? People order online. You want what do you want?
Hi, Deepak Wines.
Yeah. You don't know. No social contact also. No,
Yeah,
this is
that's
important. But I remember the first time we went, we said, are we too drunk and all? Will she give us alcohol? That kind of thing. You go, hey, auntie! You got to.
Aunties don't judge.
Aunties don't judge, but you got to make sure the relationship continues because you need auntie every Friday night at some point.
Correct.
So you want to, make a good impression. Nothing like a drunk person trying to act not drunk, no?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the funniest thing ever. Yeah. Hey, call somebody from sales. You want to see? No, I'm just kidding. I like take shots. Okay, what else can we talk about? Let's quickly push in. Tendulkar grew up next to you.
Tendulkar grew up.
Is it true? You used to watch them brushing their teeth?
No. Who told you this?
I know the story. Your house and their
my house overlooks their house.
Yeah, so your dad has all this sophisticated machinery, so you may pick out one of these.
No.
I mean, he's looking at bloody Karachi from here. So what is that? Tendulkar's house udhar hi hai, baaju mein.
No.
I mean, dad, just 1 second, I have an experiment.
Yeah.
And Sachin is only in pads, doing his teeth.
I thought about it, like, should I buy something and like look into their house and all, but then I was like, nah.
You'll need the mahua to cover.
Yeah. I won't find anything interesting, so.
What? Why? What's he done? How mean? Oh, that's not it. Sir, that's not. He's a beautiful guy.
He is. But why will I pry into his life? I meant like that.
What kind of auntie will you be? Auntie's pry. Did you mention that about gossip? Any gossip you need? Aunties.
BBC.
The
Bandra
Broadcast
Corporation.
Oh, people are coming in. Oh, to give chai. Don't worry. I'm a very distracted podcaster.
That's fine.
I'm arguably the worst anchor in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
People say that it's called charity. The dancing. What about that? How you meet guys. Tinder list in Bandra.
Yeah,
let's do that.
It's such a
because that's also a quintessential Bandra, right?
Yeah,
Those
absolutely.
organized dances, the driving.
Yeah.
If you want to make an impression, you got to be light on your feet, wear the right clothes, look good, be the in those parish things, be the lead actor.
Absolutely. So Annabelle writes about it, and the best part is her husband Clement has also written a piece here.
Oh, is Annabelle and Clement? I know them.
Yeah. So this is Annabelle.
Plays.
Yeah. Same Annabelle. So the best part is Clement didn't know that Annabelle was writing this piece. So nice. And in the end, she talks about her Bandra bugger, and also we didn't tell him. And it was a surprise for him. But it's such a sweet piece. I love this bit where she says that if you liked a guy, you found out which mass his mother went to because to Jesus through Mary.
Wow.
Okay. So then you try to become friends with his mother. So she's got all these things of how,
Is this true or just like a joke?
No, I mean,
You never know.
You never know.
I mean, you work really hard and put out a chick.
So
religion shouldn't come in the way.
Correct. Yeah. So she talks about that. Then she talks about how in the zonals you try and get into the same play as him or the same musical as him, stand at the same bus stop as him. Which who does that now, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you haven't replied to my text. I'm ghosting you now. But this is like you wait at a bus stop.
Yeah, there's something about in Gurgaon they call it stalking. You're at the bus stop, the guy behind you, he starts standing closer and closer. And the thing is, he's not even using the same bus. He just comes for a round and has to go back the other way.
Gross.
Yeah. That's true love.
Yeah.
And then, of course, later it's a crime and, he gets arrested.
But we should have people like that in school as well.
Where? Which school? You went to 10 schools?
Yeah. In one of my schools.
Which part of India you want to rubbish?
In one of my schools in Chandigarh, there were these boys. They were called the Proposed Gang. I'm not joking.
Fuck Bandra. I want to talk Chandigarh. I want to talk about the Proposed Gang. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I think they were in.
They call this as a Proposed Gang.
Yeah, everybody called them the Proposed Gang.
No, that's two different things. Are you all calling them Proposed Gang?
We called them.
Okay, so you're being sarcastic. Okay.
No, that's what they were called in school because they were in the same class, I think, for like about 10 years. And their thing was that if they went, and it was always proposed. It was never like you told a girl you like her. You proposed.
Yeah. It's a word from my generation. Nobody uses it anymore.
Yeah,
but
nobody says it
I want to
more.
propose to Aarti today. Boss,
exactly.
what do you think I should do and all?
Exactly. So, but if they came and proposed to you, then you couldn't ever talk to anyone else because you were theirs.
Oh, wow.
So the minute you saw
Proposed
Gang, the minute you saw Proposed Gang, you jumped out of the window and ran.
Were you proposed to?
No, I was fast
How did you
at
avoid?
running. Just ran. Every time we saw them, we ran.
But this word reached you
And we used to move in gangs, in little packs.
Okay.
So that when they came, you could just
Lookout.
scatter.
One was a lookout.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you could just scatter fast and they wouldn't know where you've all gone. So, yeah.
But why can't you just say no?
You can't say no to the proposed gang.
They carried guns.
No, they didn't. But they were just they were
Your
like,
dad's a fighter pilot.
they were huge and old and you didn't know.
What is that got to do? He's up in the sky. The whole building is gone. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
You never complained to your dad?
No, I don't think so.
What the hell?
Was this fun?
No, I'm just thinking, I have an 18-year-old daughter. If anybody bothered her, I'd shoot everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd shoot extra people.
Yeah, but...
I mean, I'd just shoot that guy and then everybody around. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, I have to kill somebody. I'm not done. I'm not done with my anger.
It was such fun. I mean, it was just like, you could just run from them.
But how cute is proposed
Yeah,
gang?
proposed
Now,
gang.
I know it's not that innocent when you were young, but it just sounds like what failures there must have been at romance.
Yeah.
5 guys walking with shoulder like this.
Down
and all.
the corridor.
Down the corridor.
Everyone
Thinking
running.
women are going mad because they run this. They love us and all. Not knowing that nobody
Yeah.
wants to spend a minute.
Yeah.
And today one of them is the head of finance in...
Always worry about meeting them.
and he's
somewhere.
totally different now.
Yeah.
He's like, how you are?
Yeah.
You know, in the north we have that way of...
And you're like, proposed gang? Oh
yeah.
my God.
Oh, you remember?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to stop here for a second. We'll take a
Yes.
break. We'll come back, talk more about the book.
Done.
Please go and buy the book. It's called Pudding. We'll explain why pudding. We sort of did when you talked about the sweets and all that. But I think it's really nice. It caught my eye when your friend sent us a little thing. He just sent the like a blurb of the book and all that. And I was like, pudding. For a second, I got scared. He's like, okay, I'm getting fat and this is pudding recipes.
I
and
turned into
how
a
much fun.
pudding while working on it. I put
Really?
on 4 kgs working on it.
How do you know?
I weighed myself.
But you're walking the streets of Bandra taking photographs.
No, but when I was working on it, like the last 2 months were intense. So we were just eating sweets and writing and having coffee and eating some more sweets and saying, oh, pudding, oh, let's get something sweet to eat. So it was like that.
So Bandra is the diabetes capital of Mumbai. Clearly, from what we get from the aunties and their sweet culture. Possibly you're right. Possibly if everybody makes sweets, there's a
Yeah.
lot of sweets available.
Yeah.
And these are homegrown sweets which you don't get.
Correct.
So in a sense, you earn it.
Yeah.
By being there. We'll take a break and then if we can we get your dad on?
Of course.
What's your dad's title? What do we call him?
Bonny.
I can't call him Bonny.
Yeah.
What's his official... I don't know. In the Air Force, the titles are very different.
He's retired Air Commodore. Bonney
Air
Mukherjee.
Commodore. That's what we'll call him.
Yes.
Yeah. And what is the pet name is Bonny?
Yeah.
Typical Bengali name, I think. We'll come back.
Did you know Indians report nearly 800 cases of online financial fraud every day, which has resulted in losses exceeding 1,000 crores in the last 5 years? To keep you safe from such fraud, I am starting my newest podcast series, Conversation with Vigilante, an initiative by HDFC Bank. In every episode, I will feature special guests who can share expert insights on the different types of fraud, their modus operandi, and how you can protect your money. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and don't forget to tune into Conversation with Vigilante. Catch the episodes on all audio streaming platforms and V for Vigilante YouTube channel.
Welcome back. Air Commodore is not ready to be on our show yet. He's doing his makeup. He's just doing his hair. He's a man's man. Murder. Sir, lot of respect. God, I'm scared now. But he'll join us in 10-15
Putting his
minutes.
Brill cream.
Brill cream, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my dad's zamana.
Yeah.
Well done. By the way, endorsed by a Parsi.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I
Tell
didn't
me
know
who?
that.
Farooq Engineer.
Oh.
There you go.
He would know, yeah.
First Brill cream model. Dennis Compton, famous English batsman. Are you into cricket?
No. Sorry. I knew.
Sir, come fast. Sir, jaldi aao. I'm getting bored of this lady.
I was hoping he doesn't ask.
Your dad shouting Dennis Compton, so now I got intrigued.
I saw
He's a
what you
cricket
did
lover.
to Kunal, that quiz, and I was like, oh my God, is he going to ask this?
I mean, that whole Smriti marriage thing,
Yeah.
if you're not even interested in cricket, just interested in gossip, it's all over the internet. He has no idea. Huh? He just
okay.
came back from a pudding, We just ate a pudding with some 5 people and no idea about the real world sometimes.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
Let's get back to the book because we'll run out of time and then you'll shout at me later. What have we... the Bandra Times.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Bandra Times for a second. And I want to read out I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's there's also got like a funny cryptic message, sort of one of those.
So many.
I'm going to read it out, then I'll show it. Forgiveness is a strange medicine. If you give it to others, it heals the wounds in your heart. Okay, that's a more like sort of, But the really funny one is, it is better to have a friend with 2 chins than to have a friend with 2 faces. And so this kind of...
Can I show you my favorite one?
Yeah, please show.
Okay,
But
okay,
show
okay.
the cam also.
Okay, show the cam also. But this is my favorite.
Read it. please.
Wanted bride, age no bar, education no bar, caste no bar, only father-in-law must have a bar.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so all this was a little bit of philosophy that he grew up with. And look at the face of the young man next to the, his cynicism in his face also. Yeah, I've been married 3 times. Yeah. Okay, so tell us about the Bandra Times, because I think it's gone now, right?
Yeah, the last issue, I think the last one was in December.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've, so this is Clarence and
Clarence
Gloria.
Gomes, yeah.
Clarence Gomes and Gloria. And Clarence is very involved in Bandra, like, working with like the roads, municipality, this, that, everything else. And then they, I think in 2011, they started this newspaper. It's free. And sometimes people contribute towards it, like make a donation or put an ad or whatever. And it's stories of common people in Bandra.
And it's always happy stories. And
it's all good stories.
They would not go into anything which is negative.
They're like enough toxic stuff happening, so we're going to talk about good stuff. But imagine you're a football team and you win a game and suddenly you see yourself featured in the Bandra Times, or there's an old person.
Actually, many parts of the world, they do that. They have this very local sort of news that is very, for the people living in the area, is everything.
Yeah.
Because they live in that hamlet, in that world, whatever.
I think it's lovely, right?
I
to have your own piece of.
So you become a celebrity in just your lane, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Ronnie scored 2 goals yesterday. Who's Ronnie? That guy in the yellow socks.
Exactly.
Man.
Oh, that auntie we read about her,
Best plum pudding cake. Yeah.
Or she used to work with the railways, first lady to work in the railways. So that kind of stuff. So it's amazing. But what's more amazing is they did everything themselves. They have a desktop computer and Gloria does everything. And I found it so sweet. After it's printed, she sits and stacks them lane by lane so that the post office doesn't have to do too much work when they go to be posted. So they get like Saint Cyril, Saint Leo, Saint like that in stacks so that they can just go out.
So they do the post office's work.
Yeah, I love it.
Who does that in India?
It's just so sweet.
You're basically helping the government in a way.
Yeah, I think it's
Amazing.
so sweet. But then they folded up because I think they just got tired. Plus health issues and redevelopment. So many of the newspapers come back to them because that building is in redevelopment, and so those people are gone. They moved somewhere else, and I think that's kind of made them sad. So I think
Sad.
sad.
I'm sad listening to it also.
Yeah.
Also, I think the names have changed. You mentioned the name changed in a more like
my God.
like I can't remember the examples now, but the name changed.
There's one building called Mukerjee Heights, which I find very amusing. Sorry.
Which was Windsor Manor before that.
There's also Glamour Heights, and there are all these names, and I'm like, what happened to Sea Queen and like
Sea Belle, Sea Queen,
all those names are
Blue Sky,
such cute
Chelsea,
names. What are these names? They're like all gone,
now it's Usha Kutir. I mean,
now they're just fancy names like Azure Gardens.
What would the British say if they came back?
Yeah.
But what is this? I can't pronounce it.
Azure Gardens.
Usha Sadan. What the hell is that?
I think Usha Southern is still okay, but what is Azure Gardens?
What is Azure Gardens?
Yeah, why can't it just be like Sea Breeze?
I love it when the builder can't speak English but has a building name like Avalion.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, मैं Avalion मैंने बनाया Avalion ये देखो अभी 5 एकड़ पे लगाया मैंने बैंक देख. I mean, it's just fantastic. How do they get these names?
I don't
There was no Google in those days.
I think they just find 2 really hard names, like really long.
Whatever they can't pronounce
and
or feel uncomfortable with, they say they'll
match them. Abhi isko match kar do.
Yeah,
Ye naam ho gaya. So I find it very sad. There is a building called Vertical Heights, I think. Or there's also
Vertical Heights is the
there's
name.
There's also a building in
What's
Bandra.
a vertical height?
Yeah, that's the name. No. My favorite is.
The geometry is confusing.
My favorite is Concrete Heritage.
Wow.
There's concrete.
Do you think they hired an entire ad agency and said, let's come up with names?
I think somebody just pulled a fast one on them and said, I have a great name for you. And they were like, oh, okay, great. And then just like,
and honestly, concrete isn't something that lures people. When you hear the word concrete, you're like, wow, let's go.
So, yeah.
So, okay, what else? Come on, quickly. We've got time for about 5 minutes more. The bands, the bands?
Yeah, the music and the golf course.
The golf course is not there, but.
No, it's not there. It's just.
So you'll have to give us a historical perspective on it. The Anglo-Indians?
No, so the British built a golf course.
Yeah.
A 9-hole golf course.
So where is it exactly, for those who know Bandra?
Okay, so if you're coming down Carter Road and you're going towards the Starbucks, or you're going towards where the Sachin Tendulkar bat is for you, and then you pass that and you're going towards Danda, on the left-hand side, there's just a big field with like some ramshackle metal ka shed.
There's a field?
Yeah, big one. And then there's just fish drying. But that used to be the golf course.
What
And
do
it
you say?
came all the way till where Carter Road
But
starts.
it couldn't be 18 holes. It would be like a...
9 holes.
9 holes.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
all right.
proper golf
Mini-
course.
mini course.
Yeah, but the fun part was it's an extract from a book which is called The Badminton Magazine of Hobbies and Pastimes. And that's where they've written about this golf course that they created and how difficult it was to have a golf course and all. And in the end, the author writes that, some of the local boys have been trying to caddy for us and making their own golf sticks and stuff like that, clubs. And then he writes that it's funny that some Indians are already playing cricket, and they're even like starting to compete with us. So imagine there'll be a day when some Indians, natives, will be playing golf and competing against us. So it's quite
They're
fun.
partly
actually. Yeah, it's just like.
But there's a lovely picture which I like, being a dog lover, of one of these fancy guys in their fancy golf kits playing with a lovely little desi doggy on the side. No?
Yeah,
very
that is
cute
very
picture.
sweet. Yeah.
But before we close, so bands, the music, the dances, the Christmas celebrations, quickly we can just get an insight into that.
So
there's a very strong Catholic stream and Anglo-Indian stream also, of course, running to it.
Correct.
And
But we try to get everybody into
but
this.
I think so. It's like that's the majority sort of culture. But other cultures come and they do their own version of it, and so it just gets bigger and stronger.
Absolutely.
Which is the Indian way.
Yeah, which is you kind of
don't be complex.
mix everything
mix
together
everyone and enjoy each other.
Absolutely, that's the fun part of it.
God,
So
we sound like patriots, but from another world.
yeah,
We don't belong in this one.
yeah. So I think one thing that I really wanted was I wanted a piece on Mount Mary, because I think it's one of those multi-faith worship places, and that's Bandra, right?
I've had so many friends, non-Catholic friends, when they're driving by, who do the name of the Father or just touch themselves.
Yeah.
This is again an Indian thing. It's just because it's a place of worship, not their worship.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And I suspect, and I was talking to someone and they said it's true that a majority of people who come to Mount Mary are not Catholic. They're from other religions.
It's like a festive thingy also. You're talking about the Bandra Fair and things like that also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we did a piece on Bandra Fair, but we also did a piece...
But you ended the Bandra Fair thing with a sad line.
Which is that, there's a lot of... I think there's some,
So you expect that to be also...
No, I didn't write that piece. There's a gentleman called Edwin Fernandez who wrote about his childhood. But he's written about how it's changed, and now there's some, thing about who comes in and who's got the shops there and how much are they charging for the shops. So I think there's some conversation on that.
It's become a little competitive and professional, where it was just this charming thing where everybody was welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, you were saying something and I...
Yes, so no, there's a very nice piece about Mount Mary, I spoke to David, who is the restoration architect, and Mount Mary just been restored. And he told us this incredible story about these, and we were talking about how every religion comes there and all. And then suddenly he told us this story about these 2 chandeliers that they needed to get fixed. And they were from Italy or somewhere. And they were like, oh my God, it's going to cost so much to just lower those chandeliers. Each chandelier lowering only will cost so much. And all this was happening. And then one fine day, one guy walks in and he says, I want to know, like, how can I help? Are you the architect? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, what do you mean, how can I help? He's like, I want to do something, help in some way. So he says, what do you do? So he says, I work in lighting, and I have a shop in Lohar Chawl, and I specialize in chandeliers. And they're like, what? So can you come here? And they showed it to him, and he said, okay, I'll do it. And so he does it. He does that entire, he brings the chandeliers down, gets them fixed, puts them back, and he's not even Catholic.
Wow.
So that's, to me, that is like...
It used to be a good story, but I don't know in today's narrative whether it would be acceptable. We'll change it.
Yeah.
Everybody's non-Catholic now in Bandra. The whole story is different. Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's a sweet story. He came all the way from town that day, and I thought it's so sweet. So
it's also karmic.
Yeah, it's also karmic,
how did that happen at the right time?
Yeah,
etc.
so I thought it's so to me that's Bandra.
Do you think I'm stupid just holding the book up like this? I feel the
my
body language is stupid.
My mom would love you.
Yeah.
My mom is like, you're not selling the book enough.
You've already got fans who haven't read the book. Yeah. They just like your idea. Which brings me to Meher Marufat. Before we bring your dad in very quickly, big fan of her writing.
I love Meher.
And I love the way she writes. She writes without any, dog in the fight kind of thing.
Yeah.
She just writes nicely about people from the past and lets you relive that.
Absolutely.
The sense of history is very important to people. Like I love it. You mentioned Dennis Compton, your dad, a famous English cricketer of a bygone era, and immediately I know he really knows his game. Because the sense of history tells you the person has knowledge. I think without that you're just
Correct.
Whistling in the wind, frankly speaking. So
And if you don't know your past, how do you know your present, right?
No, and she really knows and
She's
such a
incredible.
myriad of different things.
So when I first moved to this city, and I think when I first started reading her columns, I was like, she was my hero.
Yeah.
Still is, and I used to be like, wow, one day I want to be like Meher. I want to know these
In a way you
stories
are.
and tell these
This
stories.
whole thing,
And now
in a
I
way,
know
you
her,
are,
and I
yeah.
keep telling her like, I'm so thrilled I know you. I can't imagine that I know you. Yeah. So she's written a lovely piece about growing up on Hill Road and how her parents moved from Dadar Parsi colony when they got
Correct,
married
yeah.
and moved to Hill Road, and what it was like, and the dressmakers, the
It's
musicians.
amazing how you guys can remember all these things. I was thinking if I had to do it, what an exercise. A lot of people would suffer.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't you remember flashes.
Yeah.
But you seem to remember specific details and all, which is, I think, only some minds can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. My memory's terrible.
No, it's...
Goldfish.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Yeah. Not good.
What the hell?
Sorry.
Okay. Try to build people up and this is how they treat
Sorry.
you. Very un-Bengali of you.
How
I remember a Bengali who wants to lower the confidence.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. No, I remember
You're like,
everything.
Ganguly, let's go, boys.
Ask me the dates. No, don't.
Okay, should we get your dad in?
Yeah.
But before we do, very quickly, Pudding, the Memory Keepers of Bandra. Please, this is a collector's item. It's a book you should have for whatever reason. When visitors come, you can let them take a look at it because it's got everything: a slice of nostalgia, history, charm, I would say old India, not just old Mumbai. I
Correct.
think we can extend that a little bit here.
Yeah.
And people living together in harmony and a
Absolutely.
subculture of real friendliness.
Yeah.
Frivolity, fun,
Yeah.
music, food,
Yeah,
all the
sport.
F's. One I can't mention. Puckers. No, sorry. That was my Mohan Bagan moment. What up, pucker? Okay, can we get your dad on?
Yes.
Okay, we'll take a second break and then we'll bring on Wing Commodore.
Hey, Commodore.
Air Commodore. Wing Commodore, no, Air Commodore. He can't hear us. Can you hear us? Tell me if you can. Okay, welcome to part 2 of Pudding. But Pudding is sort of over. We may cut into it, but in this section we are dedicating the section. See, I'm so scared I stumbled in my words. To Air Commodore.
Bonney Mukherjee.
Yes,
Bonny.
but Bonny is the
Pet name. The
pet
Air Force name, actually.
Yeah,
One
the
of-
dark naam. So
Dark now.
yeah. What people don't know is Air Commodore Bonny, right here, is a fighter pilot, which is arguably the most alpha male thing to do in the world. So he's
You know what
actually
they
one of
say?
them.
The
You're Tom
most
Cruise. You're
dangerous
Tom
thing.
Cruise.
They say the most dangerous thing.
Is marriage.
No.
Sorry.
Second most
Second
dangerous
most.
thing is two things. One is a fighter pilot from the Navy landing at night on the deck. That they consider the most dangerous. And I remember
Why
Brooklyn
it's a very
Bridge.
small area.
Yeah, very small. Looks like a postage stamp when you're coming in.
Okay.
And another thing is when the guys who paint the Brooklyn Bridge or the San Francisco Bridge,
Yeah.
they say that is the second most
Why?
dangerous job in the world.
Aren't they tied with a
Yeah,
lasso-
but I don't know. They used to
harness?
say that maybe a couple of years
New
back.
York cops, they used to say at one point
No.
was one of the most.
No, I think the
remember
Brooklyn
this.
Bridge they use third world country journeymen, so maybe that's
Yeah,
why.
that
because
may-
before
they
before
use-
Trump you could work and without existing.
you
go
could,
pay
yeah.
for work.
Scaffolding
Yeah,
going
Raju,
on.
jaldi karo. That's how it worked. There's a Raju in every country. Trust me. Yeah, lucky.
Yeah,
All right. So let's now talk about being a fighter pilot. I mean,
that's
every kid growing up, at some point must have thought I want to be a fighter pilot. It is the most,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
fireman when you're very young and then you move to fighter pilot because you think
What
that's
about
a
engine
god
driver?
of.
Did you never
Yeah,
want to be that?
fire
I-
engine.
Not if you have a train culture of India.
Yeah.
Like, why would I want to be an engine driver? Yeah.
or the firefighter.
Firefighter for sure.
firefighter.
Firefighter
Yeah,
for sure.
firefighter,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah. But fighter pilot is like the glamour is another level, I would think. Firstly, you own a plane, which is like the most
Yeah.
powerful thing in the world, fastest thing in the
Single
world.
guy flying.
Single guy flying. Single guy.
Now, of course, they have a.
Where's your mom?
Waiting to tell my
Not
mom
so, not so lucky now, huh? First thought that comes to his head was not about the sky
Yeah.
beneath me and the powerful, weapon and arsenal. It was about single guy.
Yeah,
अब मैं बच गया अब मैं अकेला I'm not coming for dinner.
Wait till you get home now.
right when you're at home.
Yeah, she was supposed to come. But what did your mom tell him before coming?
She said, what? Say everything. Don't be boring.
Don't be boring.
She gave us a whole list of instructions.
How? I mean-
so we were at one point like, we won't go. You only go.
But can you just look at that?
Don't
Yeah.
When he's a fighter pilot with a record of hits and things like that. Whatever it is, we won't get into too much detail. But that's a scary personality. It's not like just a normal bodyguard. He's a fighter pilot, and yet he has to go home and put his head down
Yeah.
because she's going to get like.
so true.
She's going to take the
That's
chopper
so
out
true.
and you better have not made me look bad. He bombs Karachi on a weekend and comes back, and what can he do? From a Mert point of view, this is the limit.
I agree.
Honestly.
Yeah, how sad is that? But that's marriage. If you're not married yet, just talk to us. We're here to help. We'll hold your hand and pull you away. No, please get married. So, sir, tell us a little bit about your life now, about being a fighter pilot.
I was telling this straight. I joined in 64 and I retired superannuated in 2001. 2000.
Wow.
64 as a cadet.
Were you flying? You were flying the fighter pilot right till 2001?
No. You stop flying before that because as you grow up in service,
they have a limit.
No administrative jobs and all. You can go and fly. Everybody flies once in a while. But the chief has been flying just now. I was reading somewhere. He flew the Rafale and
Air Marshal.
Yeah, the chief.
He self-flies now.
Yeah, he flew, and so you fly for some time. But these are all once in a while type sorties. But generally, you get into administrative jobs and all that. So that's okay. But we flew quite a bit and had a great time flying the fighters. It's a good aircraft. Whatever you flew was a good aircraft. And then, I remember a trip I was taking with some friends. He was an army guy. He was Armored Corps. So he was driving. We were going somewhere, and he was in his car, and I was in my car. And he was going at about 90, and I was going at about 60, 55, 60.
What's it? 60 what?
Kilometers per hour.
Okay.
And when we stopped, he says, "Yeah, you're too slow. Come on, catch." I told him I got my thrills already. I don't have to go.
What kind of speed in the sky?
You know what? You talk about 800 kilometers per hour. You're doing in the sky, and you're telling me to go at 28.
Must be adrenaline-wise. Must be such a rush.
Yeah.
No? I'm just thinking.
You get used to it, I think. No.
You get used to it.
Yeah,
but
you
it's
get
still,
used to it. I think.
Do you feel like a god?
But you can't. Not like the road where you're seeing things passing by fast.
Yeah.
In the air, you're just flying. You just your thing. Yeah, the instruments are telling you your speed. Otherwise, it's
Can I ask you a personal question? When you're flying over Lokhandwala, do you ever think, what the hell? Ek laga do? I'm just. Don't ever do something like that. But for a second, there's some horrible parts of that beautiful Bandra. There's also Lokhandwala. Lucky. Do a book on that, man. Come on. Show me some charm there. Find me an auntie.
Lokhandwala.
Yeah.
I can find you some leopard prints.
Yeah, you might find some leopards actually now. Poor things are trying to find their way. 71 war.
Yeah, I was posted in a place called Hashimara, which is close to the Bhutan border. It's still there.
Right.
And so we were engaged with the East Pakistanis then, and we were flying Hunters.
So that's literally modern day Bangladesh.
Yeah. So that was East Pak.
So that was the front, yeah.
So we were about 60, 70, 70 kilometers away from the border. Hashimara was the base. And then the war started in 71 December. And we were asked to do a couple of sorties. And one of them I got shot up by ground fire, hit from the ground.
From below?
Yeah, because we were doing a bombing run pretty low.
So how low do you get when you're bombing?
Came down to pretty low, about 100 feet or maybe less than 100. We were down to about 50 feet. And these guys were in a building.
I'm asking like an innocent lamb, so don't get angry. But you can see what you're bombing, or it's like, let's just go
No, you can see. But when we were doing this bombing, there was a building which was about 5-6 stories, and they were firing from there, which we never noticed. So when we were coming in and flying through, he hit one of the bullets caught me in my leg.
Like a regular rifle?
He must have got an MMG. Must have been firing
MMG?
a medium machine gun.
Okay.
Which he must have been firing from the window.
Supplied by the Chinese, of course. I know that narrative. I've heard it before. Yeah. So it hits you.
He gets me. And then I realized, oh God, I've been hit. Pulled up and headed back for base. Landed there. Then
pulled up means you were bleeding and stuff, right? The bullet entered.
I believe that's what they say now, which must be true.
Well, the adrenaline kicks over.
No, adrenaline kicks in.
Yeah.
And also, a hot wound doesn't hurt. A hot wound.
Please don't try that.
Yeah, no, try it.
Joker, somewhere, what's the podcast? Try karna padega. Let's see if it's true. The science. What's the science? This is coming from a Air Force man who's actually. Yeah.
No, but they say if you get a hot wound, it doesn't immediately, and plus your body takes.
You weren't feeling.
I must have been. I saw that. My overall.
Where exactly?
On the knee, left.
Can you take your
knee.
pants off, sir? And I mean this with due respect. Should have brought the wife, no? She's worried there's some hot chicks here, but no, it was me. It was the old uncle who asked the Air Force man to take his pants off.
Yes. Blame Cyrus. Then we got shot up, landed.
So is it still there, the scar or whatever?
Yeah. So I must tell you, when they shot me, and then we landed, and then we had the doctors. I mean, I had to switch off because I couldn't taxi, I think.
But you were able to land and all.
Yeah. So we landed, and then the ambulance, everybody came, they pulled me out, put me into the stretcher. Those days I used to smoke, so I was lying, I remember, and we had this Oriya doctor, and he came there, and so I told him...
Is there a reason why we're mentioning Oriya? Because we are fighting Pakistan here, but once again we have to divide the country.
Accent. So I asked him, I said, Doc, give me a fag, lying there, I wanted to have a cigarette. So he said things which I don't want to imitate.
Okay, one second. This is the internal Bengali Oriya dispute. This has got nothing to do with formation of East Pakistan. In the middle of that, I don't know how this happened.
Then anyway.
So what did he say? He got angry with you?
No.
But I thought normally, because your nerves are frayed and all, they would let you have a...
No, I don't know. No, he didn't want me to have a fag, but I got hold of somebody, gave me a fag, and then they took me, and I remember we were there in the MI room, and in the evening, and I think my wife was away. We got married, over a year before that, and my brother had dropped in, he was a planter in the tea garden, and he had taken her out to the club for lunch or something, and when she came back, guys went and told her, so she came to the hospital to see me, and the night, the doctor was a Sikh gentleman, he was a wing commander, squadron leader, Pruti, Sadaji gentleman. He operated on my knee, and I don't know what
was it the right knee? No, I mean as in
but I must tell you right. No, but I must tell you this right, but you're right. What do you think?
I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, you're not talking about the
word gets
location.
This is Bengali airfighter pilot who's speaking on all the different states.
No,
Madrasi, where are you from?
But Cyrus, I must tell you about this right knee, left knee. When you go to the military hospital where I went recently, about a couple of years back, for my cataract operation, there were 5-6 of us. Everybody's about 70 when you're getting a cataract done. So everybody's sitting there. So they put these post-its over here, right, to say which is the one you're going to get operated. I mean, it looks so funny. Whole line of us sitting there with bloody post-its on the eye. So that's a good thing you remember.
Why did they go watch out to make sure they don't make a mistake?
Yeah. So if you...
I mean, it's one out of two. Can't they just say left or right? I mean, how difficult is it?
But can you believe it?
But the knee thing you can see because the blood is oozing and all
that. So that guy removed the knee and I was posted away from there. Then they took me away and sent me to there's an Air Force station called Jorhat, which is very up in Upper Assam. They sent me there and I stayed there for about 2 months with this huge plaster. There was another incident there. You know what the doctor said? So they had plastered me fully, but left the knee part open because they say the fragments of the bullet that have gone into your body or anything, the body itself rejects these things and pushes it out.
Really?
Yeah. That's what. Because every day I should go for dressing and just open that part and pull the pieces out. The first time I went, I remember I was sitting there and this airman, medical assistant, he's pulling it out. Now I looked at my own, fleshy part. I was feeling faint, a little faint. So I saw a newspaper there. I said, I wanted to fan myself, so I said, give me the paper. He said, sir, ye kal ka hai. I said, oh God. So these small things make you laugh when you think, I keep repeating this about this thing. And then I stayed there about 3 months, I think, 2.5, 3 months, then came back. Those days, there was nothing like physio. There was nothing, nobody heard of physio. They said, Abhi, start walking. So I walked, but you couldn't walk.
That's it. The physio was, okay,
start walking. But I think I was down medically for a couple of months because they won't let
and
you
the
fly.
war was done by then.
Yeah, war was over by the time I think we were in hospital, war was over. And there, who came to visit me I was the only war wounded.
Indira Gandhi.
No, I was the war wounded in this hospital. The governor of Assam that time was B.K. Nehru.
So not bad. I was almost
very close.
Same family.
Yeah.
And he's married to a foreigner. And this lady, she came to the governor's wife came to see me because I was the only war
you
wounded.
You only foreigners in the.
Yeah, I know why wounded. I was the only war wounded. So they are all very cleaned up everything and made me lie. You know how because she's coming. So I was talking to her. She said, "So what happened?" And I was explaining to her this, and I said, in East Pakistan, this. She said, no, Bangladesh. I said, no, when I was fighting the war, it was East Pakistan. Then she talked and she was walking away. And I saw this. I was a great fan of Time and Newsweek. So she had this magazine in her hand, Time magazine, and she was walking away. I said, ma'am, do you mind if I could take the magazine? She said, oh God, I had bought it for you only. She said that. But small things like this. So anyway, we spent and then I got medically fit and I carried on flying after that. Then there was never an issue.
But is there any fear? What is the...
No fear. I think it's just the
pump.
josh, the
Yeah.
adrenaline to just get in and do your job and come out. I think if you think too much, then there's fear, no?
So then when you're done with the sortie or whatever and you come back down, how much do you drink?
Good point.
So I'm thinking you need something to help. At some point it'll kick in, this is what I've done. I've survived death. I've shot people, whatever.
Every evening, everybody, have a couple of drinks in the evening and laugh over it. If you lost a friend, we used to celebrate in the evening. If you lost a friend, just to get over it, everybody, the whole squadron met in the bar and everybody drank, just to...
So I take it you're against the dry day concept. You're saying, look, I'll deal with it with my alcohol.
The funny thing in the airport those days, I remember there used to be a vegetarian day, Tuesdays.
Yeah.
But there are no alcohol days. I mean, there was nothing like no alcohol.
365 days.
Yeah, 365 days.
Yeah.
And up in Hashimara, there was nothing to do.
Yeah, no, but before we wind up, let's quickly talk about the book here for a second. What do you think about the book? What's your background? I know you live in Delhi now. That was your final...
We live in Delhi.
Okay. So, what's your thought about your daughter's book? And
Very
do you have
well.
any sense of
Hard
Bandra?
work. Huh?
Do you have a sense of Bandra? Have you...
Yeah, she's been taking us for walks. I mean, now we've been coming here for the last 8-10 years.
Yeah.
And she's been taking us.
Sounds like a Labrador.
My wife is she's very fond of all these heritage buildings. So they keep...
You were destroying them.
Yeah,
You're like, building! Maro, Benjamin! No more building! Well done, sir!
Flattened, sir. All done.
Oops. I wish I could really ask him how many strikes and all that, but we can't do that. We won't get into that. So, what's your take on the book? Obviously, you've read it.
Yeah, very good. I haven't read another book because I don't want to go through that.
The one, we have to tell people. Can I tell people? Is it okay?
Yeah.
So, what I don't know if you may or not know, Shormishtha went through cancer.
Yes.
She's a cancer survivor and has written a book called
Cancer, You Picked the Wrong Girl.
Cancer, You Picked the Wrong Girl. And above her dad's in the plane.
And you know one thing?
Saying cancer,
it's one thing I like about the book, what I keep reading, and my wife was telling me, it's funny,
it's
more
a
than
funny
being
book.
poignant.
Yeah.
It's funny.
But he's never read it because
But
I
I
think
don't
if he
read it.
reads
I don't
he'll
want to
be-
a self-deprecating sort of book.
Yeah, it's
When you're in the middle of this rubbishy sort of
Yeah, I think
evil
because you're just
disease.
observing everyone else, like, and
Yeah.
everyone else is like in another space, like people would
The
send
overacting when they see you and they get worried.
Correct,
Yeah,
and
correct.
then they're
I
like,
hate that.
I can't deal with it. I'm like,
correct.
I got the cancer. I should be the one who can't deal with it, all that. Yeah, all that. And then-
Shabby, pictures under your pillow.
yeah. And then people sending me, they'd be really nice and they'd be like, I'm sending you this article on cancer, you must read it. And I was thinking about you. And then
Are you eating turnip?
No, and
Not
then
eating turnip is good for you.
That also. And then I'll open the article and that woman had cancer thrice and she died. And I'm like, which part will I enjoy here?
Coming back to turnip.
Yeah.
There's somebody who says that don't worry about cancer, have a turnip.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with
Yeah.
That's what they say.
There was somebody who told me I should go to a leaf doctor and the leaf would cure me. There was one guy who said he took his mom to some place where she only drank water and that's how she became well.
Holy water.
No, regular water. Somewhere
No, but
in
I
Kerala.
think sometimes.
Somewhere in
I think
Kerala.
sometimes they out of.
Yeah.
No, they're doing it out of.
Huh? Sorry?
Sometimes I think they're doing it out of goodness.
No, I think everybody, human nature is let me find a solution.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
So I don't think they're bad.
No, not bad.
There's no malice. But
I
it's
think
insensitive
also-
because they're not thinking.
No, also I think
About-
people don't know how to react when you
No, they
tell
don't
them
know.
I have
They
cancer.
don't know.
They either they get like
But it's a tough one. No?
oh,
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean-
it is. It's not an easy.
What do you suppose? I would always deflect because that's how my dad used to, run. It was very simple. So if you say I have cancer, I'd be like, I think Australia should have batted first.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I think
very-
that's
I would
just-
love that.
a totally different conversation. Yeah. So
That's
that-
a good idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Deflect.
Yeah.
Deflect because if you don't have enough empathy, one is empathy, the second is you have no idea what the
Yeah,
person is
yeah.
really feeling.
Yeah.
So don't pretend because there's no point.
Yeah, but it's okay. So yeah, all this, it was really fun to watch other people and sort
But
of.
we're making light of it, but obviously a very difficult time, and you've written a book about it. And
Yeah.
so, in brief, what got you through it?
I think I was like, it's like a tunnel and there's light at the end of the. First I asked my husband, am I going to die? Has the doctor called you separately and said all this to you? Like in the movies they always show now, then they'll be singing sad songs all the time and I don't know how the patient doesn't know. So I asked him very upfront, I was like, you just need to tell me. He said no. Then I asked the doctor, have you had any? He said no. Then I knew that I have to just somehow get through that and reach the end of it. So it was just about
One thing
reaching
good
the
strong
end of that.
point I liked about her about during those period was she never wavered from the doctor. Once she got in touch with the doctor who
She stayed with the team.
Yeah.
Never. People said, no, go to
No, but
somebody else
he was
who's better.
fantastic.
Huh?
He's
Yeah,
too good.
I met him. Very good.
Maybe
Young man.
maybe half of this whole thing is just positive energy, you know. It's
Ah,
not really
I
about what
think it
happens,
is.
but just the fact that
Not really.
Yeah.
I think it's so much more. But yeah, for me, it was just that I
she
knew.
just rubbished my positive energy.
Sorry, I just
I'm
knew
supposed to
I'd
wind up here.
get there.
No, I
But
feel-
he's never read the book because he says he'll cry too much. So yeah.
Yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
Toughest man in the world, you know, shoot, kill, everything. and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Daughter's your daughter.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Okay, before I tear up, here it is. The book is called Pudding, The Memory Keepers of Bandra. Please buy this book. I think it's a very charming
Thank
book.
you.
It's recommended by all of us. And more important, if you don't, he'll bomb your house.
Cyrus says every time, Cyrus says, जब ये कहे तुम सुनो.
प्लीज तमीज से बात करना है ना, इम्पोर्टेंट पीपल यार.